A fierce opponent of socialism, a staunch opponent of abortion rights and feminist programs, and opposed to associating human activity with climate change, Milei is the most extreme politician the left-leaning Argentina has seen in a long time. The president of Argentina is expected to be controversial economist Javier Milei, a far-right libertarian outsider in the political landscape. The Lion, as Milei likes to refer to himself as, received 56% of the votes in the November 19 presidential election. Milei's rise to prominence is anticipated to upend Argentina's political system, which has historically been shaped by Latin American socialism. In addition to vowing to reduce fiscal spending, which some view as a drastic revamp of the welfare programs, the 53-year-old has gone one step further and threatened to abolish the local currency and close the central bank. Up until a few years ago, Milei was a well-known expert who frequently appeared on TV news programs. He criticized the lack of financial restraint and denounced the political elite for not doing more to improve the economic standing of the general public. However, he decided to enter politics in 2021 and ran for office as a congressman under the banner of Libertad Avanza, his own political party, Freedom Advances. He surprised South American political commentators in August of this year by winning the primary election and taking the lead in votes cast. Compared to the leading conservative coalition's 28% and the ruling Peronist coalition's 27%, he received 30.5% of the vote. Milei made news throughout the globe in the lead-up to the presidential election due to his anarcho-capitalist beliefs. In an attempt to stop politicians from printing more money, he suggested doing away with the central bank and substituting the US dollar for the peso. His suggested economic prescriptions resonated with voters, who are now suffering the triple-digit inflation. Numerous Argentines are facing a dilemma related to their cost of living as a result of the inflation rate surpassing 140%. According to a Reuters article, 4 out of 10 people in the nation are living in extreme poverty. The country is also the largest debtor to the International Monetary Fund, with an outstanding $44 billion credit program. Javier Milei, the incoming president of Argentina, has a long list of bold ideas to address the dire economic issues facing his nation. In fact, he carried a chainsaw during his campaign to represent the significant budget cuts he intended to implement. Eliminating the nation's central bank and the peso as its currency is one of his ideas. Argentina would use the US dollar in its place. How come he would do this? According to Daniel Reisbeck, a Latin American policy specialist at the libertarian think tank Cato Institute, it eliminates the inflation problem. Inflation problem is an understatement in Argentina. It is 140%. According to Reisbeck, the government has been financing its deficit expenditures essentially by creating money. However, there won't be any Argentine peso inflation if there isn't an Argentine currency and no Argentine peso printing. A dollarization acts as a straitjacket, so politicians can't print money to pay debts. However, switching to the dollar is also a straitjacket in other respects. Milei started enacting the measures he felt were necessary for the country's economy in the days that followed his inauguration. Among them, the instant depreciation of Argentina's peso by 54% in relation to the US dollar. In addition to announcing the elimination of gasoline and transport subsidies, Milei's administration also repealed price control measures implemented by the predecessor. Consumer prices spiked sharply in response at a time when inflation was already quite high. Milei further said that the nation's cabinet ministries would be reduced from 18 to 9. and that there would be 54 secretariats or branches of government below the level of government ministries. Along with cancelling several public labor contracts, his administration drastically reduced government media advertising, reducing transfer payments from the national government to the provinces, and postponing major infrastructure projects are two other cost-cutting strategies that have been proposed. Milei's plans will immediately result in an acceleration of inflation, which is already well over 100% annually. Ordinary Argentines will probably rush to exchange their current pesos into tangible items or foreign cash fast after the peso's depreciation and the relaxation of price restrictions, which would accelerate price hikes. A few people were taken aback when Milei named Luis Caputo as Minister of the Economy. Caputo, a former head of Argentina's central bank, seems like an odd pick considering that one of Milei's campaign pleasures has been to abolish the nation's central bank. Many first conjectured that Milei has not been sincere about getting rid of Argentine peso and switching to the US dollar as the national currency by putting Caputo in charge of the economy. There is a clear theoretical roadmap for implementing dollarization, according to Steve Hank, a professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University. Hank advised the Bulgarian government on a similar policy change in the 1990s that effectively stopped hyperinflation in the nation. Senior scholar Monica de Boll of the Peterson Institute for International Economics told VOA that given the current state of the economy and the possibility that things could get worse before they get better, she is doubtful that Argentina will be able to completely dollarize. People will be demonstrating in the streets and prices will spiral out of control because the situation will worsen even more than it is now, de Boll said. It's a really chaotic scenario, and I'm not sure how the political support for the Milei administration will remain together. And in the midst of all that, you want to try and embrace the dollar? In addition to his views on economic matters, Milei has a far-right stance on social concerns. The incoming president is well known for taking a strong stance against abortion and is said to have anti-feminist ideas. Even though abortion has recently become legal in Argentina, Milei suggested holding a vote to decide whether or not the right to an abortion may be taken away during his campaign. Milei also disagrees with the majority of world leaders' position, which holds that human activity is the primary cause for climate change. He was cited as stating in an interview, "It's another one of the lies of socialism." In a statement from the Center for Economic and Policy Research, he allegedly went on, "There is a temperature cycle, a cyclical behavior, and therefore all the policies that blame humans for climate change are false." Some of Milei's detractors and a sizable portion of his admirers call him the Trump of America because of how similar the former US president's opinions are on a number of different matters. In the event that the central bank exchanges dollars for pesos at a present rate set by the government, both currencies can be used concurrently in the economy for a certain amount of time as the peso progressively is eliminated. And that's all, guys. Keep subscribing to the channel.